Hello everybody, today's Thursday Thinks is all about miniature Shetlands, cute angels or menaces. So hello everybody, my name is Marianne and I'm the creator of Miniature Wilor, which is a source of information to help you to heal your horse mind, body and soul, naturally. So I have had 2 miniature Shetlands so far, and first one was Princess, who was 28 when I first got her, so a dear old girl, and she was in a very poor state. The previous owner had left her, abandoned her here where we moved to, and we just walked in and was like, Shetland, okay. Now we had seen her and expressed an interest and gone, oh, she's absolutely lovely, and the previous lady had other 2 horses. One had been rehomed by World Horse Welfare and the other one she'd had shot. But she absolutely loved little Princess, so we're really glad in a way that she left her behind and we got the joy of looking after her, and she was such an amazing little pony. Now she was only 34 inches tall, I believe. Yeah, 34 inches tall, with a breeding chart that's longer than your arm, and yeah, breeding up the wazoo. Now, because she was an older lady, we obviously don't know what her personality like was when she was younger, but she was a dear old soul. And you'd imagine her with a little handbag sat on her lap and going, with a pearl necklace, singing, yes, darling, yes. That was the sort of personality she had, where she'd just seen everything, done everything, and nothing you could do could faze her. And she was absolutely lovely. So the cuteness personified, she was that. You saw, you just went, aww. But you do a lot of little things where you see a puppy or a kitten, you're like, aww. And you saw this little Princess, and she was a chestnut mare, and she was adorable, absolutely adorable. If you haven't had the chance yet, make sure that you go onto the YouTube channel and watch the video of Meet Princess, where I tell you all about her, and there's lots of little snippets of videos and little clips of her during her life. We did unfortunately lose her a couple of years ago, which led us to get Little Spring. So I'll go on to Little Spring. Yeah, well, we'll flip between the two, I think, because this is all about my own experiences with miniature Shetlands and how I've experienced them and what facets of their personality I've experienced and why. We'll get into it. So Little Spring is a skewbald, and she is about the same size that Princess was, probably around the 34 inches, maybe slightly bigger, maybe slightly smaller, I can't remember, but I've got the paperwork somewhere, I can find it. Now, Spring is from the Blue Cross. We actually got her, we went and saw her first at the RSPCA sort of like sorting centre, where they receive the horses in and they make their assessments, and sometimes other charities take them on. So we went to the actual sorting centre. Probably not called the sorting centre, it does have an official name, but it's gone from my brain. So we went there and we saw her. She was only 4 years old, and when I'd contacted the Blue Cross after I'd lost Princess, I said, look, I'm looking for something that's a little bit older, that won't need much input from me. I'm just happy to give a little soul a life, somewhere to live out their days in comfort. I've got a miniature Shetland stable all set up. I've got the equipment. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm just missing the little one to fill the gap in my herd. And at the time, strangely, they didn't have any. Now, RSPCA have trouble rehoming miniature Shetlands, whereas Blue Cross, they can't get enough of them because people are just taking them, rehoming them from the Blue Cross. So they're the perfect place to go if you're looking for a miniature Shetland, because they just have so many, because all the other charities know that they can rehome them to really, really good homes. So I would suggest looking at the Blue Cross if you ever want a miniature Shetland of your own. They're absolutely beautiful creatures and beautiful little souls. Now, I am very, very biased because I absolutely love the Blue Cross. They've done so much for me, and I have done as much as I can for them in return, including volunteering in their legacy department for it was about 6 months, I think. On every chance that I got, I went up there and helped out in there. So It was absolutely amazing. They're a really great charity, so yeah, that's where my soul is. So Little Spring, she was 4 years old when I got her. She is 5 coming up. 5? Yeah, she's 5 at the moment. Oh, you can actually see where my head torch was. I've only just come in from outside and I had a head torch on so I could see where I was putting the hay nets, and there's a lovely little square on my forehead if you look close enough, and I can see it. It's like, ooh. So Little Spring is a totally different kettle of fish. Now, she is cuteness personified, I can tell you that right there and then. And at the moment she's growing her winter coat and it's coming in absolutely luscious. It's so soft and it makes her look like a big pom-pom. She's got these fluffy legs and she's just poofy, and it's just, it is adorable. It's adorable. So again, cute little angel. Or is she? And it was Princess. Now, she's had a little bit of trouble settling into the herd because she's got a very different personality type to what the rest of the herd is. The majority of my herd are confident introverts, or just introverts. You've got Midnight, who's an unconfident introvert. You've got Pagan and the Major, who are confident introverts, and you've got Egypt, he's on the border between confident introvert and confident extrovert. So he flits between the two. So her personality, Little Spring, she's a confident extrovert. So she likes to be everywhere. She likes to be in everybody's faces. She likes to be in here, likes to be there. And in fact, she's got the nickname of the ninja because one minute she's over here. Next minute you look, she's over there. And then she's in your face and then she's gone. And you're like, oh, where the fudge did you come from? Which is interesting. She's got so many names as well. She's also known as Housekeeping, as in housekeeping. If you watch Big Bang Theory and Bernadette when they go to Las Vegas, housekeeping. Because she is the first one in there once the Major has had his bucket in his stable, because I shut him in. As soon as I open those doors, she's in there hoovering up whatever's left on the floor, any little bits that he might have shoved off the table or dropped out of his own mouth, she's there going Blah. And she's also Pocahontas, because if you're poo picking or just stood there not paying attention, you start to feel the nose going up your back and she just starts poking you. Oi, you're not paying attention. Oi, you. Which is cute in some circumstances and annoying in others. So she is an interesting character. Now, both of the girls have a bit of a go about them, or had. A Princess, you could tell that when she was younger, she would have ruled the herd with a polite iron fist. Because she has always been there for Egypt. He was the first of my herd to arrive here because he came direct from the Blue Cross, and he was there purely to be company for Little Princess, because I moved up a week after everybody else did. I still had to work out my notice, and I was still arranging for the Major and the Grey Lady to be transported up, and we'd already knew that we were having Egypt, and we also knew that we were having Pagan when she was old enough to come. Pagan was a month old when I saw her. If you've seen the Meet the Herd video of Meet Pagan, you can see the pictures of her when I saw her when she was exactly a month old, and she came to us when she was 6 months old. So Egypt had about a week or two of being with Princess, and he was great company for her, which was absolutely beautiful. But Princess was always the one who kept him in check. Now, considering she was only 34 inches tall, she could boot his face. Now, he is currently about 15 too, but at the time he was probably about 13 too, maybe. And there was actually people here at the time, the owl people. If you've seen on the YouTube channel, there's a video about how we had a barn owl box installed, and the people there who came up, they saw her kicking him, and it was really they're like, oh my god, that's a really scary little horse. And their impression of her was that she was a menace, and she was attacking this poor little youngster, when actually she wasn't. If once we explained that actually he was being a pain in the backside, she told him several times nicely not to do what he was doing, and then when he didn't listen, she booted him in the face, and that is purely acceptable in horsey society and horsey mannerisms, and it was absolutely acceptable. They went, oh, so it's just like a grandmother clipping a grandson around the ear because he's really not paying attention. Like, yeah, exactly. That was her equivalent of, shh, don't talk back. So I think sometimes the perceptions around miniature Shetlands can depend on the information you hold at the time. Now, Shetlands do have the nickname of by professionals of Shetlands because they can be little shit to deal with. Now, this can be because people don't develop the knowledge around Shetlands and what it's like for them to be who they are, and other times it is because the horse is having a real big objection to what they're doing. Now, for those people who have been around small dogs, you may be aware that, you know, small dog syndrome exists, and it's the same with small horses as well. They have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they're around other creatures, other horses, which can push them about, and they're, you know, several times bigger. And, you know, if you think about it, last time I weighed Egypt, he weighed 0.5 ton, whereas little Spring is currently around about 200-300 kilo mark. So it's really, really interesting when you think of these little tiny things, and they're in herds with big horses. It's expected for them to have a chip on their shoulder because they get pushed about by these big horses. Not to saying that my other horses bully her, they don't get a chance because she's gone, because she's so flitty, she's everywhere, she doesn't stand still for 2 seconds. She's nippy, she's tiny, and she zips everywhere. And also the fact that she pushes them about as well, because she's got that chip on her shoulder, because she's got that attitude, and she's all, I don't think so, if you want to, I'll kick you in the face, or bite you in the face. She has a real big issue with the Major. Now, the Major, when he first met her, he was evil to her. He tried to bite her, he chased her down my track, and I had to physically restrain him and be in his face. Now, this is the most kindest, gentlest soul that I've ever come across, and I was in his face going, no! And I was just like, I have never seen this side of you, child. It's like he went, you're not princess, you're not supposed to be here, I don't care. But okay. And my entire herd was trying to attack her over the fence. I had to physically fence her off and put electric tape on the fence to stop them from attacking her. That wasn't to say that she didn't do a fair bit of attacking in return. She's feisty. And I think that's another trait of Miniature Shetlands. Now, I don't want to be stereotypical because not every horse is the same. Like, not every racehorse is high and just active all the time. They're not. Not just like not all cobs are really dopes on the rope. Far from it. But the Miniature Shetlands that I've come across have had the tendency to be feisty. Again, chip on the shoulder because they're smaller. So I can see how they get the reputation of being Shetlands. But you also got the time side of things where people don't truly train them the same way that they do a big horse. If you had, say, a Shire or a very big cob or someone like Egypt where you've got to be on top of them, you've got to put the boundaries in place, or you could be seriously hurt, people don't think the same when it comes to a sweet little miniature Shetland because they tell you what harm can they do. Well, actually a fair amount, because miniature Shetlands can be considered draft horses because they're bred for strength, because they were bred to be in the mines pulling heavy carts day in, day out. So they're bred for that physical strength. And actually, if you get on the wrong side of Spring, she is incredibly strong, and she can be incredibly headstrong with it. And be like, nope, this is what we're doing. And you're getting pulled down the road or getting pushed out the way because she has decided that she doesn't want to do what you're doing. So something to be aware of, because a number of people who I hear will go, oh, I want a horse, I think I'll get a miniature Shetland, it'd be so cute in the garden, or something to that effect. And they don't think of the side of, they got to train this horse so that it's not in everybody's faces, that they don't find it acceptable, that they nip, that they kick, that they're still horses. So I think some of it is down to human training, because they just think, oh, it's a cute little Shetland, it can't do that much harm. And sometimes the cuteness gets you blinded, you become cute blind, and it's like rose tinted glasses. It's like a little child where you see like a 2-year-old and they're giving their parents attitude, and they're just like me 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 me. Everyone's like, oh, isn't it cute, little Miss Diva? And yet if she's 15 years old, you'd be like, girl, you need to sit down. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? When they're cute, they get away with murder. Which is why the minute that I got Spring, I had the boundaries worked into place. I was like, these are the rules for everybody, and this is also the rule for you. You do not stand in my personal space. If I ask you to move, I need you to move for safety's sake. For your own safety as well as everybody else's, because sometimes the bigger horses do come in and try and shoe her, and sometimes I need to say, no, you need to stay still, because if you go over there, you'll cause an issue over there. If you go over there, then you'll get chased by that horse or whatever. So putting boundaries in place has been really, really vital for her, and actually it's helped her settle, because she knows her place. She knows exactly what should make her safe and what I can do to increase that safety. So but once those boundaries were in place, I could then go, oh, isn't she sweet? Because she knew her limitations. She knew what was polite and what wasn't, and what I expected of her and what I didn't. That being said, since Egypt has had his issues, if you've been watching the Thursday Thinks for a while, you'll know what those issues are. If you don't, check the archives on the Facebook page, on the Instagram, or even on the YouTube channel, because I published these Thursday Thinks 2 weeks later on the YouTube channel. You'll see what issues I'm talking about with Egypt. So she hasn't had the same input from me, which means that she's got on bolshy all of a sudden. Which means she's turning into the Menace, she's turning into Little Shetland. Which means that I need to now work to create the situation where she can then be the cute angel. The cute little thing in the corner that goes, hello, I'm here, love me. And you go, oh, okay, you're just so adorable, how could I not? So, at the moment, she's Pocahontas. She's poking me every 2 seconds. And when I'm trying to give the Major his bucket, or even Egypt his bucket, it can be a little bit annoying, especially as I'm opening and closing the Major's stable door, because his stable is right next to Little Spring. She's nibbling at my fingers when I'm trying to open and close things, because she's expecting my attention to be on her, because that's what she wants. She wants my attention. And what better way to do it than poke me? And she's standing too close, she's in my personal space, which means if I'm not paying attention, I turn around and I can fall over her. Because she's not here, she's down there. Which then causes issues, because then I'm falling onto something that is half my size, but weighs a lot more than me. So if I fall over and I fall over onto the ground and she spooks at it, I can get stood on, which isn't safe for me. And it's not safe for the rest of the herd, because if she spooks, the rest of the herd usually flies as well, because that's the herd mentality. So it's not a safe situation to be in. So for my safety, her safety, I need to work to put those boundaries back in place so that she can go from the Menace to the cute little angel. Now, if you think back to Princess as well, obviously there was the situation where she seemed like a menace, but she was actually putting Egypt in its place. There are a few situations as well where she was a little bit no, this is how we're doing things. And because she was an older lady, I accepted those, because I was like, oh, you're an older girl, that's fine, you know what you need, far be it from me to tell you. And actually caused a few unsafe situations as well. So I think whilst we're always like, oh, it's so cute because it's just so small, sometimes we also put these things in place or drop our boundaries and break the rules because our animals are older, which is something I'm going to talk about next week. So make sure you've liked and said that you're going to join me for next Thursday Thinks as well, because I think it's going to be an interesting one to talk about what it's like having an older horse as well. So I'll talk about Princess and that as well, I think. But she got away with a few things because she was an older girl, and because of the state her previous owner had left her in. She had chronic Cushing's, she was laminitic as a result, and her hooves were just, they hadn't been tended to for several months by the time I got to her. They were wedges, they were curled at the end, she had full proper Alibaba slippers, and it was just, she was in pain. By the end of it, if you watch the video that I put up on YouTube about her, we got her golden, so it was a good thing. But her personality at her older age was absolutely beautiful. Cuteness personified, and I would purposely take her on walks with the rest of the herd so I'll get respect on the roads, because everybody slows down for a miniature Shetland. They just do, because she's just so cute. So having that cuteness factor can actually be beneficial. It increases the safety of the rest of my herd when I'm out and about, because people just find them so cute that they slow down and go, ah, as they drive past. Especially if they've got kids in the car. Whereas if it's, you know, someone like Egypt who's 15 too, and they don't think, oh, he's a flighty horse, because he can be if he's scared. And they're just like, drive past. So yeah, having a little miniature Shetland can really, really be beneficial. They take up less food. Okay, the thing though is fences. Oh my god, fences. Whilst they're cute and adorable to look at, the little buggers destroy your fences and take down your electric. So now not only because of spring, but also because of pagan, in previous videos you'll know why I have an issue with pagan and electric fences. Watch those and figure it out. But because she's so small, she can get under stuff. And I have found her in other parts of fields because she's gone under fencing, because she dips her back. She puts her head under and goes, oh, I can fit under this. Crouches slightly and goes. And you're just there, oh my god. I have the horse that is, or the pony that is most at risk for laminitis because of her size, because of her stature, because of her breeding, on long grass. And I'm just, woman, get back. Woman, get back in that field. And she's used to me now coming up to her and going, what are you doing? And because I know that she can be quite flighty from the first time she escaped, I always walk up to her and give her a damn good scratch before I take her back. Now, I'm not rewarding her, I'm just making sure that she doesn't pee off as soon as she sees me, because she has done that in the past, and I don't have time, usually at that time of the morning, to just follow her around until she gives up. So miniature Shetlands can be really, really difficult with fencing, because they can not crawl under, but you know, they can dip under. Not only that, if you do have it at a height where they can't get under, they can still, you know, put their head to the side and nibble, which means they can get more grass than some of the other members of the herd. And if, like me, you're growing your hay crop in the middle of your field, you can end up with a border between electric fence and where your hay crop starts, because this little Shetland's got a head under it and is nibbled. You're like, that's your food. You're eating your food for the next year. Which means that sometimes I have to get more food in. I have to buy more hay, which is more expensive for me than just growing my own. So now, on all electric fences and all fences that are keeping her in, there is some sort of barrier, whether it be extra logs with the wooden fences or electric tape. This year I have used so much more electric tape with a combination of pagan and spring. So joys. So, Sarah, yes, you are right. In my opinion, Miniature Shetlands are both cute angels and menaces. But it depends on the situation, depends on people's opinions, whether they know all the stuff at the same time as making their assessment, and whether the owners have done what they needed to, what they should have done, in my eyes. So obviously I've only had the 2 Miniature Shetlands, so I can only base it on that experience, but they are at totally different ends of the spectrum. I had an old lady who didn't cause much of a hassle because of the life that she'd had, and this little Spring who's young and sweet and teaching me so many things. All of my horses have taught me something. They are great educators in not only how you approach things, how you approach situations, but also what energy you're coming with it too. I cannot go into the field with a bad vibe, and I can't work with Spring with a bad vibe either, because if she sees me and I'm in a bit of a bad day at work, she's everywhere. She's like, oh, I don't like it. Oh, I don't like it. So, yeah, great teachers. And great for safety on the road, because everybody slows down for a Miniature Shetland. So if you're thinking about getting a Miniature Shetland, I'm more than happy if you want to talk to me about it, talk about their care and the best way to look after them and where to go to find the best ones. Not the best ones, but the ones that will teach you the most, I suppose. And the ones that you can learn so much from. I am a big fan of rehoming from charities, because these horses need love and they appreciate it so much more. Anyway, that's it for me. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the bell icon so you get a notification for all future posts. Don't forget to like the Facebook page, join the Facebook group, and check us out on Instagram, @Wilor for virtually daily updates on the herd. And I'll see you all next week for my next Thursday. Thanks. Bye.